Hey everyone, Sarah Pacaro. Today's question that we're going to dive into, explore, and answer is how long does it take to recover from a narcissistic relationship? Well, some people say it takes forever. Some people say it takes a long time. Some people, like myself, know a little bit more about what's actually going on within the realms of a narcissistic relationship. So it really just depends. It depends on what you do. It depends on how proactive you are. It depends on how much time, energy, and effort you put into it. It depends on the choices that you make. So there really is no one size fits all answer. It truly does depend. And it depends on the next steps that you take. Most often, I did this myself as well. You will just get into another relationship. Perhaps one narcissistic relationship ends and then you give yourself time, you take a time out, you take a time off from dating or from relationships altogether. You read some self-help books, you don't date for a while, and then you start dating again and you say, I'm over that last relationship. The problem with that is if you truly don't do any kind of internal healing, if you really don't connect with yourself at the unconscious level, and all you do is take time in between one relationship and another, you don't truly change because time alone doesn't change you. Time is just time. Time is not a changer. It goes by whether you're actively working on healing yourself, whether you're changing or not. And in fact, you're changing every day. There are elements of you that change every day. Maybe you get more wrinkles every day, maybe you gain weight every day because you are slowly changing every day incrementally. But your unconscious programming isn't changing unless you're activating it, unless you're connecting with it, unless you're healing those inner wounds that were caused within the relationship itself, and even the ones that were there that led you to being in that relationship, those ones that had you ignore all those red flags, those ones that had you stay when you knew that it was horrible, those inner wounds of self-abandonment, self-worth, self-confidence, that anxiety that's developed because of it, the bouts of depression and sadness that you experience, and you just kind of brush off or shake off as that being quote unquote normal in a way that you're just used to living, or living with the phrase, it is what it is, right? I know that person was a horrible person, but I'm just going to go find someone better and quote unquote move on. So some people do that. And if that's what floats your boat, go sailing. But for people who truly want to take that relationship as an opportunity to get to know themselves on a more deep level, get to know themselves more deeply, get to know themselves more intimately, to see into themselves. That's what intimacy means. Into me, see, to see into themselves and to heal those old hurts, wounds, and traumas, to break those patterns of behavior that you have, to really take ownership and have recognition of the part that you played in that narcissistic relationship, because the narcissist can't have a relationship with themselves, right? They need supply. And at one point, time or another, you were a source of supply for them. So what lessons were you being sent? Were you being invited to experience within that narcissistic relationship? That will determine how long it takes to heal or how long it takes to recover from a narcissistic relationship, if you align with using that term. Some people will say you're never fully recovered or you're never truly or fully healed. Well, I can tell you one thing. If you continue to receive lessons like that through the form of relationships and don't do anything about it, just continue to ignore them and just move from one relationship to another, the universe or source or whatever it is that you say gives you those experiences and opportunities will continue to give them to you and make them progressively worse, because you had an opportunity to have a breakthrough or an experience, an opportunity to learn more about yourself from that one, and you ignored it. So it will just continue to get worse. That's what happens with problems when they go ignored. Think about an illness, right? Think about not taking care of yourself. And let's use diabetes, for example. If you just ignore the fact that you're on track to get diabetes, and then you have diabetes, and you just ignore it and you think, oh, time will heal it, but you don't change anything, you don't stop and evaluate yourself and your life and your choices and your actions, that diabetes is going to get even worse and lead to even more painful, even more horrendous diseases. So there's opportunity in everything. And the narcissistic relationship is no different. So how long does it take to heal? Well, it depends on what you do after you're no longer in it. So let's explore that, because a narcissistic relationship is extremely abusive. It's abusive on many levels. It's abusive mentally, it's abusive emotionally, it's abusive spiritually, and oftentimes financially. In both relationships I was in the past with narcissists, financial abuse was very prominent. I was in $15,000 of debt after both of them, had nothing after both of them, didn't have a job after both of them. So therein lies the patterns. I was allowing myself to get in those situations. So after the second most significant one, realized, wow, I am a player in this game. I'm a part of the common denominator. And I need to take a look at what it is within me that's allowing myself or causing myself to get into situations, relationships, have experiences like this. So recovering and healing and that journey, how long does it take? Well, it depends on the amount of work you do, just like anything. So healing and recovering from the abuse not only suffered in the relationship, but all the abuse that led you to being in that relationship, your own internal patterns, habits, patterns, belief systems. That's the number one system that needs to be addressed, because you can change habits, you can change accents, you can change behaviors, you can change patterns, just like people want to change the shape of their body. If they want it to be more toned and more slim, they begin going to the gym and they begin following a food or diet program and following that. And more than likely, you'll see changes in that. It's different, however, with spiritual, mental, and emotional abuse. There's no one size fits all, because the internal programming that you had installed that left you with those emotional, mental, and spiritual wounds are not just, here you go, follow this, because they're based on your past experiences. They're based on your beliefs about the world. They're based on who you believe yourself to be and how that impacts you and the way that you show up in relationships and in your life. And you are the only one who's had your own experiences. You are the only one who's lived your life. So no one can say, here's a worksheet, just do this and boom, you'll be better. It'll just take a month. So truly connecting with your unconscious mind, getting to the core and the root of your belief systems, the experiences that you had within the relationship and the ones that led up to that relationship. And you'll see a connection, you'll see a pattern, and you can't see it consciously because you just might, well, I think it was because of this. But when you say, I think, you're simply guessing. I think it was, no, I know it was because of this. I know it was because when he or she XYZ and it made me feel. That's one layer of the onion. But you can't just peel off the first layer of the onion and go, oh, I'm healed. Now I just need to go get into another relationship. Everything's better. All good. Nothing to see here. Because you haven't got to the core and the root of that. So you're simply just distracting and avoiding what's truly and really going on at the core, at the root, underneath the surface of all that. And that's oftentimes what many people do. They'll read a book about narcissism and then they go on and on about that other person. And they think, well, it wasn't me. Okay, that's fine. But where is that really going to get you in the long term? If you're not truly and deeply connecting with yourself and getting to the core and the root of your beliefs, the beliefs that you have about yourself, that you're unworthy of love, the beliefs that you'll be alone forever, all those things that are keeping you believing those lies as truths, the upbringing from your parents, all that generational trauma that's been passed down, that baton that's been handed that now you're holding. So it can seem like an impossible undertaking, but it's not. I'm living proof that it's not. You can see hundreds of testimonials on my website, client success stories that show you that it's not. It's not an impossible undertaking. So if you believe that, I hear you, but I'm here to show you that it's not. And I can't show you in this video because the showing is really an experience you have with connecting with your unconscious mind, breaking those patterns and those belief systems, reprogramming, restructuring, rewiring them so that you have a completely different life. So it's not anything that you'll find that is able to be explained in a video, but this is just to highlight that commonly asked question: how long does it take to heal from a narcissistic relationship or recover from one? So there are some steps that you can take and need to take along this journey to healing, but how long you need to spend in each step, again, is up to you, because it's going to be different for you. There will be a grieving period, grieving for the life that you thought you were going to have with that person, grieving for the love that you thought you had, the realization that you fell in love with someone who actually didn't exist, the realization that you were lied to, manipulated, gaslit, love bombed, all those things. There's a normal period that you're going to go through that's a grieving period. And it's normal. It's okay to be angry and to allow yourself to feel those feelings when they come up. But majority of people don't. Majority of people suppress, repress, depress them, and that leads to other health issues. And in that, they say, well, they're not feeling it anymore, so I must not be feeling it, must be fine, I must be over it, and then enter into another relationship. So it is really important to go through that grieving period and to allow yourself to experience those emotions. But a lot of people will not allow themselves to experience those emotions because they fear that if they do, they won't stop, or they'll be out of control, or that those feelings will never end. So they don't even allow themselves to go there or to feel those feelings. But it is important that you do, so that you can process them in a healthy way. There's a phrase that says, you must feel the feeling until the feeling no longer needs to be felt. And you know that, right? You've had experiences where you've cried, and you've cried and cried and cried, and maybe it was just an hour, maybe it was 3 days, but at some point you stopped crying. So this is normal, to feel sadness, to feel anger, to feel resentment when you've experienced a loss. When a relationship ends, that's what it is. It's a loss. Even this loss, especially the loss of a narcissistic relationship, is one that will be a benefit to you and be and better serve you in the long run, right? There's that phrase, you dodged a bullet. And I actually have a client who I've worked with who literally dodged a bullet with her ex-narcissist. So you need to allow yourself to go through this normal grieving process that occurs after any loss. So you may not feel safe or open to experiencing the pain because you've already experienced so much. And that's the goal, is to heal and recover and to not experience that pain anymore. But the longer you suppress it, depress it, repress it, the longer you're staying in that space of feeling it come up and pushing it down and feeling it inside of you. And many people I work with express that they feel the heaviness in their chest, they feel it in their throat, and it feels stuck and locked inside their body, feels trapped in their body. And you more than likely feel trapped mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You feel trapped energetically. And when that negative energy is trapped in your body, it will present itself physically. Oftentimes you get a lot of aches and pains, you get a lot of tension. Sometimes it builds up so much so that you find that you need surgery, or you go to a doctor and you think, okay, there's got to be a different way. And all they're doing is prescribing you medication to alleviate the symptoms of that pain. What I'm talking about is getting to the core and the root of it. So another very, very good tip, obviously, is to stay away from the abuser. You hear that a lot, go no contact. So it is absolutely essential that you do go no contact or have extreme limited contact, because it will only prolong that recovery process and make it more difficult. So that's another element to consider when you're hearing or having the question, how long is it going to take to heal or recover? Well, how long are you going to continue to engage with the abuser? You can't heal in the same environment that's making you sick, right? So if there is no reason at all whatsoever that you should stay in touch with this person, it is important and imperative to cut ties with them completely. And if you feel that you're unable to, because you're going to use the phrase and words, it's an addiction, I can't help it, obviously there's something going on within you. There's a deeper root cause and connection to that feeling of addiction to something that's causing you so much pain. So that is imperative to connect with and get to the core and the root of. Otherwise, it's going to feel like that and you're going to stay in that push-pull dynamic. And obviously, it's going to take even longer to heal and you're going to stay in that pain for much, much longer. And I don't want that for you. I'm sure that you don't want that for you either. So this can be done. You can expedite the healing process, even if you can't go no contact, even if this person is a parent, even if this person is the children or father or mother of your children. You can do the inner work to heal. And there are steps you can take to be able to have contact with them and just be completely indifferent to the emotions that arise when you're with them. Again, lots and lots of people that I work with have experienced that as well. And just say, I'm completely indifferent to them now. I can see them and not give a you know what about what they're doing. So again, doing the inner work to heal expedites that process and allows you to go on living and loving your life much more quickly. Another significant impact that's had when you are in a narcissistic relationship is your confidence in your self-esteem, your self-worth, the ability to trust yourself. So perhaps you had low self-esteem when you met the narcissist. When I met the second one, I know I had low self-esteem because I had just gotten out of a marriage with a covert narcissist. So my self-esteem was shot. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think I was pretty. I didn't have any money. Remember, I said I was $15,000 in debt. So first guy take me on a date. Okay. So it's very, very likely, especially if you've been in a number of series of narcissistic relationships, that your self-esteem is extremely low, completely shot, or you have no idea where to even begin looking for it. Because within a narcissistic relationship, that is the one thing that they just chip away at. It's like a little drop of water and it just slowly deteriorates you, right? If you put a drop of water on a rock, you may not see it doing anything at time, but over time it will begin to deteriorate and break it down and break it apart. The same thing happens with your confidence, your self-esteem, your self-worth, and your ability to trust and believe in yourself when you're with a narcissist, because of the gaslighting, because of the manipulation, because of all the lies, because while you're being fed all those, you're holding on to hope. You're holding on to the good times that you had together, but those were fake good times. So what you're holding on to never actually truly or really existed. And that does a number on your self-esteem, your confidence, and your self-worth. It does a number on you looking at yourself and seeing anything positive or anything good about yourself. You feel completely lost. You feel like you have no purpose in this world. And it feels like it takes a lot of energy, effort, and work to try and convince yourself of your strengths, of your accomplishments, to see anything positive at all about yourself. So that is something that needs work and doesn't take a long time, because if you look at the very tip of that, the very core and root, like I've referenced before, what's there is the belief system that you have about yourself, is that internal unconscious programming that's damaged, that's broken. And when that changes, when that's reprogrammed and rewired, like getting an upgrade to the latest and greatest model of programming, imagine a phone or a computer, right? The narcissistic relationship takes that computer and that phone and smashes it. The screen is shattered. It's an old, outdated, like iPhone 3. And when you do the inner unconscious work to transform, change, and heal after having been in that relationship, it's like ditching that phone and getting the latest and greatest one, the one that's shiny, pretty, new, clean, the one that works quickly, effectively, powerfully. Same thing can be done with your mind, because your mind has a program in it. It is like a computer system. So when you update that programming after having been in a narcissistic relationship where it feels broken, damaged, it feels like it's malfunctioning, it feels like it's the wires aren't connected anymore, they're frayed, and it's just because that's what your brain feels like after you've been in a relationship with one. Everything can change, and yes, it takes time, but it doesn't take as long as you would think. So I'm going to get off that soapbox and go into the next one. Another important component of healing after being in a narcissistic relationship is to exercise. Take care of your physical needs. Take care of yourself physically. Drink a lot of water. Take care of your body. Take care of your body, and your body will take care of you to a degree, right? Because you can exercise, and a lot of people do get into that where they just over-exercise because the narcissist called him fat, the narcissist called him ugly, and now they're going to show them. Oh, this used to be me. So you're exercising, you're going to get your revenge bod back, right? So you're going to go to the gym and just look fit and toned so you can attract a new, better partner and then make that narcissist jealous. Totally the wrong reason to exercise. That's exercising to punish your body because you're really trying to punish the narcissist and using your body as a tool or a vessel to do so. Don't do that. I used to do that. What's happening is there's things there going on below the surface. You should be exercising because you love your body, to keep it active, to keep it moving, to keep it healthy, to move all those stuck negative emotions and energies through you, not to get back at the person and make them jealous, because then that's still a connection. That's a negative connection to that person. If you're still trying to make them jealous and you want them to see what they lost and see how good they had it. So there are so many studies that show that exercise is great for depression, sadness, anxiety, and improves your overall health and well-being. But it's so much better when you're doing it for the right way, or for the right reason and in the right way, when you're doing it to love yourself, not to punish yourself or to show someone else, because then there's still negative emotion that's trapped in your body, and that can't just be exercised away. So another step that you'll hear a lot of counselors and therapists say this: accept your thoughts and move past them. This is where it is imperative to do that inner core work, because so many people that I work with say, Sarah, I was working with someone and that's where we just got stuck every time. And everyone tells me, just let it go, just move on, just accept your thoughts and move past them. I don't want to accept, right? And then their voice and the tone changes because they start to get angry. They start to feel all of those things coming up. And they start to notice the intrusive thoughts that seem like they get stuck in their mind, like on that hamster wheel. And they feel, I know I should accept the thought and move past them. But those intrusive thoughts are so intrusive that I can't get past them. If there's like, I'm blocked, there's like this internal block, there's like this giant wall, and I can't move past those intrusive thoughts. And if you have experienced this type of abuse, you have experienced these types of intrusive thoughts that seem like they're in my head. I know where they are. They're in my head and they affect my heart. My heart feels sad. It feels broken. They cause, and a lot of people will use the ownership word they cause my anxiety. They cause my depression, and they'll connect it back to the thoughts that they're having. And they're told by someone else, just accept the thought and move past it. And that's where most people get stuck. Because they think, how? I've tried, I've read the books, I've done the worksheets, I've written in the journals, I've tried the meditations, I've listened to the audios. How in the world am I supposed to accept this? I need to move on so that I can be productive in life, because it's affecting all of my other relationships. It's affecting my job. I can't concentrate. I can't focus. I can't think at work because I can't accept these thoughts and move past them. So that is where, if you're journaling and it's working, keep doing it. But if you've tried all those other things and you've tried them and they haven't worked, there's something going on. You are literally and logically blocked. And I'm smiling when I say that because you're blocked by your unconscious mind. That's where transformational healing unblocks you, gets you unstuck so that you can move through those thoughts, move past them, whatever verbiage you want to use, move past, move through, whatever resonates with you. But your unconscious mind is the place where those blocks are stored, is what's holding those blocks. So of course you're going to feel like you keep hitting that wall, because you are, but it's not a literal wall. It's an inner wall. It's an unconscious block. So transformational healing breaks through that wall, removes that block so that you can go on living your life. And most people, right? More advice that they'll receive is create goals for yourself. But this is another place that people feel that block and that friction and that frustration and that the intrusive thoughts come in because they should have goals for themselves. But when you've been in a narcissistic relationship, you don't even know who you are anymore. You feel like your soul's been ripped out of you. You feel like a shell of a person. You feel like you have no insides. So to create goals for yourself to do what? Right. And then generally the intrusive thoughts come back in and go back to the narcissist. Well, I want them to want me back. And they just completely ghosted me. But so what do? What kind of goals am I supposed to set for myself? I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm in debt. I am this. I am that. I am a nobody. Nobody's going to want me. How can someone who no one wants have goals? Like, what's the point? And if I can't have goals, but I should have goals, and there must be something wrong with me. These are the intrusive thoughts that I'm talking about. So they're linked to the very core of the unconscious block. There's a direct correlation and connection to them. And until you remove that and upgrade that internal unconscious programming, you're going to continue to hit those blocks. So recovering from narcissistic abuse is possible, and it doesn't take decades. My goodness, could you imagine if it did? But it does take you, A, being fully ready and committed, and B, being ready, having that will and that desire, and then having the right motives, having the right tools. And I'm not talking about just, the tools of journaling. I'm talking about the tool of using the processing and the power of your unconscious mind to allow you to get in there, make those connections, disconnect from the intrusive thoughts, reconnect much more powerful, positive, confident thoughts that have you believing in yourself, thoughts that have you trusting in yourself, and not just thoughts, because thoughts alone aren't enough. The true inner feeling, reconnect with those so that narcissist is literally just an experience of the past, one that you used to learn from, to grow from, to improve from. It's really, really difficult to do without the connection to the unconscious beliefs that you have about yourself, having had that experience with them. So if you're interested in transformational healing, if you're ready to go on that journey, I would love to connect with you. I'd love to see if we're a good fit to work together. Love to see your motivation and learn more about you and what you've experienced and why this is so important for you to truly have this breakthrough. If you're just interested in watching videos and learning more about it, awesome. I'm glad you're here and I hope you have found this helpful. But if you're ready to truly recover and truly heal and don't want to waste more time, energy, and effort, then I would love to connect with you. You can find more information to connect in the description below this video. Until then, I hope you have found it helpful. And please, please, please know it does not take a long time to heal from narcissistic abuse. I am living proof, as well as the hundreds and hundreds of clients that I have worked with. You can find their success stories and testimonials and more on my website. Until then, I'll see you guys.